Coming up on the center of it all, we went to visit a local restaurant that recently got some big recognition. And we have a chocolate store that will satisfy every candy craving. Mel is making a dish with a short recipe but a long history, and we'll tell you why we went to Clearfield for this week's Pet of the Show. All that and more right here on the center of it all. Good morning and thank you for joining me on the center of it all. We are in the beautiful Chocolates by Leopold shop in Boalsburg, and we have all the details behind the candy making. But first, if you're looking for a unique place that reminds you of your mom's cooking, we went to a restaurant that brings you more than just a good meal. Where can you eat a delicious meal in a railroad car that has been around since 1884? At Whistle Stop Restaurant in Center County. The restaurant has been around for 25 years, but it isn't just because of their food. The building is a restored railroad car that has its history on display all over the room.
There's a lot of nostalgia here, and there's always been a lot of nostalgia here. So people like the quiet, they like the small town.
We get a lot of people in for a first-time experience. They like to look around at all the different pictures and all the find out about all the different history.
History is one thing that is proudly displayed and taught when it comes to the restaurant. Waiting staff are educated on the basics of the railroad car to share with customers. They even have things from when the building was first built. One of the more popular items is a freight scale. With the mixture of railroad history and the unique menu, it's no surprise that Whistle Stop was rated among the top 10 best hole-in-the-wall restaurants in Pennsylvania. Hole-in-the-wall is defined as a small, very modest, out-of-the-way place. The railroad car seats 70, and according to the owners,
We are off the beaten path. In order to find us, you have to try to find us.
We don't look quite as hole in the wall as maybe we did a year ago, but I can see a lot of people come in and they do say it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. It looks very small from the front.
The look of the restaurant isn't the only thing that makes it unique. Daily specials are run, like a weekly pasta dish that is made up on the fly, and their prime rib special that you can only get on Saturdays.
And we have had a lot of people tell us it is the best prime rib they've ever had.
Along with prime rib, chicken and waffles is also among the specials served at Whistle Stop, and one menu item that has been in demand and stayed on the menu for the last 25 years.
Liver and onions. Now, liver and onions is kind of considered like a diner food, but it's a staple of something that people have been eating forever. So people want to be able to go out and have that. And so we've kept liver and onions on our menu for 25 years.
Their menu covers a wide variety of foods, from simple sandwiches to deluxe dinners.
We run a large gamut from, kind of diner type food like the liver and onions and ham steak to upscale, white cloth, tablecloth and napkin dinners like chicken piccata and beef burgundy.
Whistle Stop is suited for all kinds of customers, though they aren't the mainstream noisy restaurant you may be used to. People come here to relax and have a nice meal.
And a lot of our customers look forward to going someplace where they're comfortable, where it's not noisy, it's not filled with TV screens, there's a lot of background noise going on. They want to have a nice meal, and they don't want it to be exciting.
With just 2 people running the restaurant, hours can get long and family events are often missed. But there's one thing that keeps this restaurant going, and that's the love the owners have for their customers.
I often describe this place as 2 things. It is both a labor of love and a ball and chain. As long as the labor of love still shows up in my brain and loving the customers the way that I do and pleasing them, I can put up with a ball and chain.
And though some things have changed over the years, the communication between husband and wife is one thing that keeps this restaurant running.
She gives me all the feedback I need, and I tell her what I can and cannot do. And we work off of each other very well.
Communication, good food, and a little history are all things Whistle Stop has to offer for their customers.
Those little things make a lot of difference to our clientele, and they make a lot of difference then to us as well.
And while a name change has been brought up multiple times over the years, the name and the building bearing the words Whistle Stop can be found exactly where they've always been for the past 25 years. I love chicken and waffles. It's one of my favorite meals, so I will definitely be stopping by to give it a try. But when we come back, we continue with the food theme as we talk about chocolate. Welcome back. Now, do you have a chocolate addiction? Chocolates by Leopold could have a treat to satisfy your sweet tooth, and the best part is it's actually slightly healthier than your normal chocolate bar. We all have had chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, but at Chocolates by Leopold, you may taste a difference when you pop one of their candies into your mouth. And it all starts at the chocolate factory in Montrose.
Well, our chocolate's all handmade. A lot of shops do mass production these days.
Handmade, all under the direction of Leopold Schreiber, who began learning the art of chocolate at just age 12. In 1997, Leopold opened his first chocolate store in Binghamton, New York, but in 2005 he moved his store and his factory to Montrose, Pennsylvania. Today, there are 3 chocolate stores, the one in Boalsburg being the newest addition, opening just 9 months ago. So what makes this chocolate different?
Handmade, small batches. There's no preservatives, there's no wax in our chocolate.
No preservatives, no wax. Chocolates by Leopold does their best to keep their ingredients Pennsylvania local. But when they have to go beyond the PA borders, they do their research and shop around to find the highest quality products that they can.
A lot of places put wax in the chocolate to kind of give it a longer shelf life and to make it spread farther, and it doesn't melt as easily. So we don't use any wax.
No wax and a little healthier. Their milk chocolate has around 35% sugar compared to Hershey's 67.
Our chocolate's less sugar than Hershey's. Our dark chocolate's only 17%, so it's almost like a health food.
And with the high quality ingredients come many different chocolates. They have all different kinds to choose from. Chocolate covered pretzels, a variety of truffles, caramels, toffee, creams, buttercreams, and if you love nuts and toffee, then Schreiber's signature piece, Butter Crunch, is a treat you'll have to try. And the best part, everybody, every time they walk into the store, gets a free sample, and it can be anything in the glass case. So you can always try something different with every purchase. And the one thing the store prides itself in is not just the better ingredients, but the experience.
You can go to the grocery store and buy a piece of chocolate, and it's okay. You come here, it's a beautiful shop, the staff is friendly and helpful, everybody gets a free sample every time they come in, and it can be pretty much anything that we have in the store. So that's really special, and you get to try something new every time.
Chocolates by Leopold make donations to WPSU and have pre-packaged trail mix bags available for purchase to send to soldiers. The company supports education, reading, and learning. And if you're looking for chocolate for a wedding, birthday party, graduation party, Chocolates by Leopold can customize any chocolate for any occasion. You can pick from hundreds of theme molds or simply have Schreiber create a brand new recipe just for you. No picnic is complete without something sweet. Be sure to stop by Chocolates by Leopold to grab some chocolate for your 4th of July weekend. When we come back, Mel has a recipe you'll want to have on your picnic table this weekend with an interesting backstory. Welcome back to the center of it all. This week, Mel's recipe is perfect for the 4th of July, but this one is more about the story than the ingredients.
As I always say, every recipe has a story or a history, and in the case of bean soup, it has both a story and a history with our United States Senate. Back on a hot day in 1904, the Speaker of the House walked in to the Senate dining room and was outraged when he found out they had removed bean soup from the menu for the summer. "Thunderation," he roared. "I want bean soup on the menu every day." In 1907, the Senate Rules Committee unanimously passed a resolution declaring, as long as the Senate is in session, no day shall pass without bean soup. 1 century later, it hasn't changed. Join me today while I show you how to make our country's famous Senate bean soup recipe. The best way to describe a ham shank or a ham hock is, it's a mini ham. The hock is taken from right above the hoof, and the shank is taken from right above the hock, which makes the shank a little meatier. I prefer the shank, and that's lucky for me because they're available all over Happy Valley. So we're using a shank in our soup today, but there's only one thing you need to know. Neither are meaty and both are smoked, so they are usually only added to dishes for flavor rather than substance. In terms of the beans, the Senate's recipe is pretty straightforward. They call for a 1-pound bag of dried navy beans to be soaked in a bowl full of water for 24 full hours. I've obviously done that. And after you've drained them, they've swelled to twice their size, and we have 5 cups of softened beans ready to be cooked into our soup. In terms of veggies, they're pretty straightforward too, except it's the way you prep them that's important. Everything from the potatoes to the parsley needs to be small diced or minced. Now that we've got our shanks and our beans and our veggies, let's head over to the stovetop and make some soup. When it comes to running 7 busy dining rooms, it should go without saying that Senate bean soup has to taste good, but it also has to be really easy to make too. And when it comes to this soup recipe, it's all about properly prepping the ingredients, putting them all together in a pot, and giving them all the time they need to cook low and slow. I've got a 6-quart pot, and I have 2 quarts of liquid in here. I used 1 quart of the water I reserved from soaking my beans and 1 quart of water. I'm going to put that on high heat, and I'm going to add my ham shank, which is about 1.25 pounds. I've got my beans, all 5 cups. We've got 1.5 cups of diced celery. A 1.5 cups of diced onion, again small dices, and 3 cloves of minced garlic. 3 cups of small diced potatoes. I'm using gold potatoes. I like their creamy texture when they finish cooking. I've got 1/2 cup of parsley, 3 bay leaves, 2 teaspoons of salt, and a teaspoon of coarse black pepper. Lastly, I'm adding carrots, 1.5 cups. It's not on the original Senate bean soup recipe, but in the neck of the woods I come from, bean soup without carrots isn't bean soup. Give this a stir. And when this comes to a boil, I'm going to adjust it to a simmer. I'm going to cover the pot, and I'm going to let it go for 2.5 to 3 hours. It's just going to cook itself. My soup simmered for 2.5 hours, and then it sat for 2.5 hours. We call it steeping, and that's to let all of those great flavors come together and cool off a little bit. Now I'm going to take my ham shank out. It's perfectly cooked. And this is, it's kind of messy, but we're just going to pull the meat from the bones. And there's usually 2 bones in the shank. I'm going to start pulling it apart. Well, first I'm going to look for pieces of fat off the sides. I'm going to pull that loose. Although most of the fat has already cooked off it and into the soup, there's a big piece. Breaking it up as best I can. Here. I kind of just mash it. I told you this was messy, but it's kind of fun. Then I just start cutting through it with a knife to pull it into really small little shards and pieces. And I want this pulled and cut as fine as I can get it. We're going to have, as you're going to see, there's about 2 cups of meat here. That's all you're going to typically get off of a shank, and you'll get a little less than that if you're using a hock. That looks pretty good. Goes really fast. Scrape this all back up. Put this back into the soup. I'll give this a good stir. I'll probably put it back on the stove for about 5 minutes just to get this soup all heated through, and then we're going to eat. When I was 12, I actually ate Senate bean soup in the Senate dining room. And you can too, but you just can't walk in from the street. You have to write a letter to your state's senator requesting passes. And the ones we received allowed access to the tunnel that actually joins the Senate to the Senate dining room, which allowed us to peek into a lot of offices and meeting rooms along the way. Oh, just like I remember. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
I love ham and bean soup, so the addition of carrots is something I'm definitely going to be doing. When we come back, we leave the soup on the stove and head out to the golf course with Matt Vukovich. Welcome back. Matt Vukovich is out on the golf course with another tip to help us improve our summer golf game.
Thanks, Alicia. Today we're going to talk about a part of our pre-swing routine that's very important to having our max amount of distance reached with our golf swing and to make correct contact with the ball. That's ball position. You see right here I have my driver, my 7-iron, and my wedge all lined up at different ball positions. We're going to walk through each one of these positions and talk about the optimal location for that golf ball before I make my swing. Starting with my wedge, we want that ball position directly in the middle of our stance. What that's going to do is allow my sternum to be just behind our golf ball. When I make contact with the ball, I want to hit the ball first, and I want my sternum moving to the left forward with a lot of power and allowing my strike zone with the club to land here. To demonstrate, I'll have the golf ball in my center stance. I'll take the top of my backswing here in this location, and I'm going to swing through that golf ball, striking the ball first, the ground second, and having my sternum position to the left of that golf ball. Our second ball position we'll talk about is my iron ball position. Our iron ball position, we want just a little ahead of the middle part of our stance. Again, we're moving that sternum to the left part of that golf ball when we make contact, having the strike zone just ahead of that ball. We're making contact with the ball first, and again, making contact with the ground second. Finally, our driver ball position is going to be a little bit different than how we hit our irons. This ball position is going to come off the left heel of our golf stance. Our driver swing is a little bit different than our iron swing. We're swinging more upright. So when we make contact with the ball, we don't want to be ahead of the golf ball swinging down. We actually want our sternum to be just a little behind that golf ball to allow that upward swing motion. So this ball position will be off the left side of our heel. We'll swing with a more upward motion, and we'll strike the ball just behind that left heel. Ball position is very important to get the maximum amount of distance out of your golf ball and to make sure you're striking the ball in the correct location. So starting off with a good ball position will put you in the best position to finish with a great golf swing. If you have any additional questions, don't forget to always see your local PGA professional, and have a happy 4th of July, everyone.
The weather lately has been perfect to get out and play not just golf, but with our pets as well. We went beyond Center County to bring you this week's pet of the show, who is looking for her family to play with. We went a little bit further from home for our pet of the show. This week we are at Susquehanna Veterinary Clinic in Clearfield with Dr. Megan Facer, and this beautiful, loving pet is Cordelia, and Megan's going to tell us her backstory and a little bit about why she's with us this week.
Well, Cordelia is with us because the family was having a tough couple of weeks and involving a heart attack and a stroke, so the family is actually moving to a care facility and they couldn't take Miss Cordelia with them, so they're looking for a loving home for her. She is a Collie Fox Terrier mix. She is great with their little 4-year-old grandchild that they have. She loves to play outside and enjoys being outside, and she also likes to cuddle inside. They don't have any other pets at the moment, so they're not sure how she is with other cats and dogs, but she's very sweet and very loving, and I think she'll probably do great once introduced to them.
She did really well when we were driving over here. She was in the car, she was shaking, but for the most part, I mean, she didn't go crazy, so she did really well car-wise. She just really needs a family to take care of her and to love her. If that's something you or someone you know is able to do, please don't hesitate to get a hold of the Susquehanna Veterinary Clinic here in Clearfield. You can go to their website or give them a phone call. That wraps up this week's episode of The Center of It All. We'll see you guys next time.